Good versus evil, the light versus the dark, DC versus Marvel. Hello, I'm Dark Superboy, and this is a video I like to call Guess How Many Versions of Iron Man S.T.R.I.P.E can beat up. Let's begin.
2 robots enter, 1 robot leaves.
Yes, this video is all about how many versions of the Iron Avenger can be defeated by the sidekick of Stargirl. And we've actually have a few suits to get through, so let's get down to the rules of the game.
Number 1, we will be using the end of Season 1 Stripe from Stargirl, so no flamethrower or 12-foot chainsaw. Number 2, no hacks. Stripe appears to be entirely analog based and therefore not susceptible to cyber attacks from Jarvis. And number 3, I'm using the specs for each suit from the Marvel Universe wiki, so weapon layouts may vary. Number 1, the Mark 1. The first suit on this list is Tony Stark's first ever Iron Man suit, and made in a cave out of a box of scraps. Unfortunately, this shows as the suit was slow, bulky and hard to control. Its only armaments were a set of wrist-mounted flamethrowers and a line-of-sight mini rocket launcher. Although able to withstand small arms fire, this suit would begin to receive damage from high-caliber weapons in combat and began to suffer catastrophic failure due to exposed weak points at the joints and rear. Needless to say, this suit wouldn't last 10 rounds against S.T.R.I.P.E and would fall faster than its first maiden flight.
Number 2, the Mark II. An improvement over the Mark I in every way, Stark was able to employ his full intelligence and resources to the creation of the next version of Iron Man armor. Mr. Stark developed a new suit with full armor coverage, heads-up display and more advanced hydraulics, the onboard AI Jarvis, plus a new Mark II mini-arc reactor, which gave the suit enough power to its additional flight stabilizers for fully controlled and prolonged flight. Also, an unintended byproduct of the stabilizers was the creation of the first hand repulsor. But for all these upgrades, the Mark II still comes up short compared to the size and raw power of S.T.R.I.P.E, and without any higher caliber offensive weapons like the tank missile or laser, would be forced to resort to close quarter combat, and there are many examples of more advanced versions of the Iron Man armor failing at this against villains or allies that are weaker than S.T.R.I.P.E, who has gone toe to toe with a Hulk level threat.
To number 3, the Mark V. The Mark V again lacks any offensive weaponry other than its repulsor beam technology. No tank missiles, no lasers. This suit doesn't provide much protection for the wearer. In fact, you are able to see whatever clothes that the user is wearing through the suit itself, and therefore doesn't provide as much protection as the solid armor plates. Number 4, the Mark 22. aka Hot Rod, the Mark 22 was originally meant to be the replacement for the Mark II War Machine. However, it did again lack any improved offensive weaponry, with the exception of a single 20mm micro cannon attached to a single wrist. Presumably, Stark was going to leave arming the Mark 22 to the US military. Number 5, the Mark 23. aka Shades. The downfall of this suit in combat with stripes is again the complete lack of weaponry, as its main design was only to withstand extreme heat and not combat. Number 6 and number 7, the Mark 34 and Mark 35. I'm putting Southpaw and Red Snapper together because both suits were designed for search and rescue, major hindrance in any form of combat. Both suits featured retractable claws used for moving debris, but seemed unable to be removed from the suit itself, and thus would hinder any sort of articulation in any fight. In fact, in this clip from Iron Man 3, we see Red Snapper unable to remove extremist soldiers from itself due to it being unable to use its arms fully because of the attached claws, and was quickly destroyed. The same flaw would present itself in any fight with S.T.R.I.P.E. Number 8, the Mark 36. The Peacekeeper was designed, unsurprisingly, for peacekeeping duties, such as quelling riots and crowd control. So, in order to prevent civilian injuries or casualties, no offensive weaponry was added to the suit. No offensive weaponry at all would mean that it fares poorly to none in combat with S.T.R.I.P.E. Number 9, the Mark 37. The hammerhead was designed for underwater missions and thus was armed appropriately for those environments. The suit was equipped with mini torpedo launchers and a prototype electrical field generator and create an electrical pulse, incapacitating any opponent in the water environment. Unfortunately, in this situation, would not function properly in combat with S.T.R.I.P.E as it would be a land-based battle. Therefore, I'm chalking up another victory for S.T.R.I.P.E. Number 10, the Mark 41. Bones is the precursor to the Mark 42's individual armor flight and assembly function. Bones' weakness is in its name, as the suit had no armor protection at all to the pilot, and you could see its inner workings, making it very fragile and unsuitable for combat against any form of opponent, let alone a giant mecha suit. And finally, number 11, the Mark 42. As the most advanced suit on this list, the Mark 42 would have easily been able to handle S.T.R.I.P.E if it had finished its prototype testing phase before its destruction. Unfortunately, it did not, and therefore suffered from many bug issues, from unresponsive repulsors to non-functioning rocket launchers and an intermittent flight capacity. And let's not forget its tendency to fall apart from even the slightest of hits. So yeah, I don't think it would have lasted that long in any combat with S.T.R.I.P.E.
So there we have it, 11 versions of Iron Man armour that S.T.R.I.P.E can defeat. What do you think? Do you agree with this list? Do you think there are Iron Man armours that should be added to this list, or Iron Man armours that should be taken off this list? Please discuss it in the comment section below. And please, if you've enjoyed this video, like, share and subscribe to my channel. Your support means everything. I've been Dark Superboy. This has been a video on DC vs Marvel. Please like, comment and subscribe. And as always, let hope burn bright. Goodbye.